Super Smoke Bros. I can't believe it's episode 7 already. And we're going away a little bit from our interview series that we've done the past couple and just getting all our fans, and it might only be one, but all of them caught up on what's going on in our world. We had our first catering gig on things like that. We have 136 followers on Spotify after a couple months. So I think that's pretty solid, or maybe it's not. I don't know. Also, 300 followers on Instagram are moving up, and we got some of those followers that have the blue check mark by their name. So, we're slowly climbing the ladder of in social media and on podcasts, and something we just love to do, and that's talk barbecue. So, our first episode has been, according to Spotify, has been either played or downloaded for more than like 3 minutes over 100 times now. So that's pretty crazy too.
All right.
So wow. So we're moving on up, moving on up. So, but just the kind of updates where we're at, what good things happened lately. Super Yago, take it away.
Sure, man. Well, I mean, all three teachers are pretty hyped about summer. I can see, it looks like the three of us have forgotten our razors already, which is usually a
Yep.
good start. My brother-in-law came over and looked at me this morning. He's like, "Man, you're a mess. You need to like go take a shower or something." But no, I haven't had a lot of time to do any smoke. I've been pretty busy. What I have done since our catering gig where I did the pork shoulder, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Um, pork tenderloin, which is always a good go-to. I've been firing the pit boss up even for quick things at high temp. And this morning, or excuse me, like lunchtime, I think today, did a couple of burgers on there as well, which nice and easy. But I was hoping to do some beef jerky, but I think that's going to get postponed till after I get back from Canada. But that's going to be a big deal. I got the meat, I just didn't have time to follow through. So things to look forward to in the next episode is making beef jerky for the first time on the smoker.
Never done it, man. I'm super
Nice,
stoked.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Super
bummed I
stoked.
don't have it done today, but it will be done by the next episode. I promise.
All right.
Super Sheehan.
All right. Yeah. So big changes here.
Yeah.
Up until this point, I've been talking about my Weber Smoky Mountain, which I still have. But Z actually found a Facebook Marketplace ad for me for a Pit Boss pellet grill out in Kaukauna, and I went and picked it up, and it's in beautiful shape. So I'm a Pit Boss guy now. Still will be using the Smoky Mountain, but now I just have two options. And since getting that Pit Boss, I've done three things on it. I just made some smoked Cheez-Its, which were pretty fantastic, some chicken wings, and a big old pork butt. So yeah, I'm loving the pellet grill life, the convenience of it. With the pork butt, because that took a long time. I was able to get it on early in the morning. Then we went to Cafe Hollander for brunch. Actually, shout out Cafe Hollander. Their French toast and fried chicken
Yeah.
breakfast, the best breakfast food in the world.
Doesn't
Uh,
suck.
no, so shout out to them. But yeah, that's what's been going on here, getting used to it and learning the ins and outs of the pellet grill.
What are the first pellets you rolled through there, man? What was the
I
brand of
had
pellets?
some charcoal pellets and
Nice.
fruitwood blend, and kind of put both of them in there.
Yeah, I did a mixture.
Delicious.
Yep.
Nice. Nice.
Mhm.
Nice. I'm having trouble. Where did you find your charcoal pellets at?
Honestly, they're a year old.
Oh, really?
Um, yeah, because
Oh,
last
Farm and
last
Fleet by me
summer,
has them.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was oh, where was it? Home Depot, maybe? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I got
Um,
yeah, I gotta find I can't I my usual place I've been I usually always get Bear Mountain, and usually right next to Bear Mountain are the Royal Oak charcoal, but they haven't been there. So I've been
yeah,
Tractor
that's
Supply
they're
have
at
them?
the Royal Oak.
yeah,
Yeah, there I got them a year ago. We rented a cabin that had a Traeger
oh, that's
on
right.
site, so we needed to provide our own pellets, so I just brought the pellets up. But they've been sitting in my garage since then. Planning on one day I'll buy a pellet one day, and here we are.
Yeah. No, that
Woo!
was a super sweet deal. That was the same one I
Yeah, it
have, and
was. Yeah,
I
it's
saw that.
beautiful,
I'm like,
super
oh my
clean.
gosh.
Yeah, works great.
Yeah, I almost bought it too. I was like, I might just buy another one, I can always use
Yeah,
more room.
yeah.
So yeah, my world, I keep on firing up here. Couple of things, I got my offset smoker now. Super excited. Got figuring out. I fired up 2 trial runs just to figure out the temperature and what I need to do. Like the first time, I didn't start it with enough charcoal. Burnt it down, used one of those things, and just not enough. So I put more in there. So you're learning before I throw stuff on there. It's coming up. I'll try my first run here. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna try it pretty coming up pretty quick with the first one. But I got a Smoky Mountain too. So
Yes.
yeah,
Smoky
so not
Mountain.
as big. I don't think it's as large as there's a smaller one. But the deal was so good, I couldn't pass it up. It's like brand new, and so I will try that this week. I'm thinking Friday or Thursday. We'll give the Smoky Mountain a go, and I'm just gonna. I saw this recipe for chicken breast, but
Ooh,
done it's what was it done like? It's kind of done like a pork tenderloin where
okay.
you like smoke it, and they put mustard on it, they seasoned it, smoked it, and then put wrapped it in tinfoil of butter and brown sugar and it like pulled apart like shredded pork. So I think I'm gonna give that a whirl. What the heck, you know?
Yeah.
So and my big thing I did was for our first catering gig for the retirement party from some of our teachers. I know she and Yago will talk about it a little bit. I have something else I'm going to talk about in my segment here. But I did the brisket. I did two, 15, 16 pound briskets. And they turned out maybe one of the best I've did. They turned out, beverages are flowing, so everyone thought it was good.
Yeah.
So it may not have been as good as we thought. But when,
Careful.
yeah, they turned out great.
Understatement.
Yeah.
I tried a little different method, and I actually had beef bone broth with tallow mixed in and kind of like and I had the brisket over it and through that. But thing is, I got up at 2:30 in the morning because I hit 170 to wrap it, and I spilled some of that tallow on my feet. And of course, I didn't have shoes on, so second degree burns on my feet, by top of my feet, which hurt. But
Dude,
we made it through. So
I
that
didn't see
was
that
an
on
extra
IG. I was
celebration.
looking for a, burn pick on IG.
Yeah. Michael
Yeah,
Scott burned his foot.
yeah,
George Foreman
yeah.
grill.
I burned his foot on the George Foreman.
Gotta make your bacon.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been kind of where I'm at. So and even like now I just fire up the pellet smoker to put burgers on because you get that little, you get the good pellets, you get that little different flavor with it than throw it on the gas grill. And so been yeah, so anytime I get a chance to fire up that pellet smoker, I'm doing it. And we're gonna go the offset here in a little bit and Smoky Mountain here in a couple days. So
Z,
Nice.
how is the plans going for your little area we talked about in the backyard?
good, good. Yeah, I'm getting there. I was cutting down trees, remember that back where I had all those
You gotta see it,
arborvitae.
Colin. It's nuts.
Yeah, and I bet I was cutting those down this weekend and kind of laying things out and
Nice.
like thinking, okay, all right, after the 4th of July, I think I'm gonna roll with it and just try to pour one myself here. And yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's a little area where I got to talk to my brother-in-law to possibly get an outdoor sink. All right, and already has electrical hookups and stuff like that. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. So we'll see what happens. So
The smoking
that's
pad.
yeah, I know.
Or the
The way
smoking lounge. That'd be cool. Like a
that
teacher's
would
lounge,
Wow.
smoking lounge.
yeah, that would be. So you never know. It's on the works, but with me it takes a little time because I like to really have my plan ready, and sometimes it just takes me to take it a little longer than most people. So. Oh, but we're gonna move on, and before we get into our big segment, it's going to be about step-by-step recipes of some of our favorite things. But before that, I talked about a little bit, gentlemen, how we've been so lucky with the popularity of things and how we're growing and people. And so I just want to give some shout outs to people that took the extra time to just help us and things of that nature. So, Super Sheehan, do you want to start us off?
Yes, I would love to start us off. Our first shout out is going to be Miss Tina Cannon. This was our first kind of interview, big interview that we did, and we didn't really know what to expect coming into it. Uh, but we were honestly blown away. Like one of the most genuine, salts of the earth human beings you could ever meet. And we thought, oh, this will take 20, 30 minutes. And as you guys know, it took almost an hour because we just kept getting great content, great answers, and great conversation from a great pitmaster, but also a great person. So a huge shout out to Miss Tina. She was one of the first, probably the first barbecue show I ever watched on Netflix was with her. So it was an awesome deal for me to have her be one of our interviewees. But yeah, she was fantastic. So huge shout out to her. And I know she's still been in touch with us
Yeah.
too. So
Oh
she's
yeah.
just a great, awesome person. Go follow her if you haven't.
Mhm. Yeah, she has a new line of rubs out too. And so it's in the shopping cart. I just got to hit click, and I'm going to do that after this, after we get done here, just get those new line of rubs for support her.
Yeah.
Super Yago.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw one out to Todd and Susie Bullock from Hey Girl Hey. Also had a fantastic interview, super down to earth. Very relatable to what we were trying to do. I felt like we left that interview with like I don't know, like a clear lens. They really cleared things off for me personally to be like, hey, you guys just keep doing what you're doing. Don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just kind of make things your own flavor, which I think we kind of have been. But like just super nice people to talk to, very down to earth. Willing to do whatever to kind of help us out. So thank you. We appreciate y'all.
Yeah, they're both were so super awesome. Just so thankful and blessed, humbled actually to be just having them take their time out of their lives because they don't know who we are. We're just three teachers that like to hang
Yep.
out and talk barbecue. Another one too, another podcast. It's known as SS3TP, which is called Sidelines Saunas. And I gotta say sauna, right? All right,
Sound.
Sidelines Saunas and three team parlays, and it's actually two teachers. One was one of my teachers back in the day for my senior year, and based in Upper Michigan. And my two colleagues know my love for the mother country, as I call it, the UP and Gets
Northern
God's
Wisconsin,
country.
right?
Yeah, but they gave us a shout out, and we actually had some people listen to our podcast because of them. And so we want to thank Oj and Andy for throwing that shout out for us. The people on Instagram have been phenomenal. I can't believe like we have blue check marks by some of the people commenting and liking our
Yeah.
stuff, and like local, our local, like I call it little butcher's heaven when you walk in, Meesfields, giving us shout outs on their Instagram. Then you got like Tina and Hey Grill Hey, and you have some newer ones that came. A young lady, the Seattle butcher's wife, has been commenting on and liking our stuff, along with Captain Ron Cooks, who's a friend of Tina's, and so they're really, and then more people are seeing it because of it. So that's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. And we have fans repping our Super Smoke Bros gear, and
Saw
so.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
Love it.
how awesome is that? I had to give a shout outs to all of them. And if you want your Super Smoke Bros gear, it's supersmokebros.net. It's there, it shops there. We're not making any money off of it, but it's just a way to get out there and things like that. So, and the reason we want to get our fans caught up and everything, but one of the things that we really appreciate is some of the feedback we've gotten
Mm.
is that we really want to know how you talk about these things that you smoke, but we want to smoke it. So how do we do it? So could you give us some step by step? And so we've been meaning to do it, and well, we're going to do it today. And so the three of us each have a little different recipe or a little different thing that we want to do, and just take you step by step through. Um, and we'll also post these eventually, and they might already be up there on our website, which on the bottom, if you scroll down, we started a recipe blog. And so you have usually a picture with the recipes there too as well. So if there's one that we haven't talked about today, it will be up there shortly. So we want to start off with Super Shia and take us away
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
step by step,
So
baby.
first off, before I even get started, just remember these recipes. It's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So you maybe try one of our recipes and then tinker with it, make some switches to what you like, make it the way you like it. This is just what we do. But try different things. That's all of us have gotten recipes that we found online and then tried it, made tweaks to it, made changes, taken notes and stuff like that. So if you hear these recipes, try them out, let us know how they are, and then make changes. But I'm going to talk about ribs. One of my favorite things to do, one of my family's favorite things to do, and one of the first things I ever did. So just rack of ribs. I like baby back, just my personal preference. And then I've experimented with tearing the membrane off, scoring it, leaving it on. Usually I just tear it off. Um, and then I actually make a homemade rub. So I'll drizzle it with olive oil, both sides of the rack. And then this is my homemade rub. I had to find it on my phone. I got it. So it's 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 2 tablespoons of paprika, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, a half teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which just does give it a little bit of a kick. So if you don't like it very spicy, you can take that out. Two teaspoons of dried oregano and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. So season generously on both sides. Get your smoker, whether it's the Weber Smoky Mountain or the Pit Boss, Pellet Grill, whatever it is, about 225-ish, give or take. And I put it on there. I usually leave it for like an hour. Maybe spritz it with some apple cider vinegar or apple juice, kind of depending on the flavor I'm going with. And then leave it uncovered for 2 hours. After about 2 hours, I'll wrap it in tinfoil. Before I complete the wrap, though, I'll put pads of butter across the top of the rack and then pour in like some apple juice or something. Or if I'm going for a different flavor, some Dr. Pepper or cherry Coke, something like that, um, in the tinfoil for some flavor. And then leave it about 2 hours for that. After another 2 hours, take the tinfoil off, kind of check it, see how it's going. Then put some barbecue sauce on it, kind of whatever barbecue sauce you're feeling, like dealer's choice for that. Um, Miesfeld's has a Old Smoky barbecue sauce that I really, really like. I think it's a homemade recipe for them that is delicious. Shout out Miesfeld's again. But then lather that on and then leave it for. This is kind of where you have to check it once in a while. I'll usually leave it for about half an hour. And then after about half an hour, just check it. And I kind of go when it's done, seeing the bones kind of protruding a little bit, maybe a half inch, an inch or so. Or if you like pick up one end of it and it bends, but it doesn't break the skin or break like the meat yet. If you start to see it breaking, then it's definitely done. So if it's just barely starting to break, that's about when I'll pull it off and then let it rest good as much time as you have, 10, 30 minutes, whatever it may be. And then that's that. Oh, and one thing I did add is I'll soak it overnight in a tub of like Dr. Pepper or Coke or something like that before I get started too. If you have the time for it, you're prepared, which usually I'm not prepared enough to do that, but is what it is. So yeah, that's my ribs. Have the recipe up on the website soon.
Yeah,
So
definitely. And I have the recipe for your rub too that I'll get up there too as
yeah.
well. Sheehan, you and I were talking the other day in the weight room, and uh, one of the things that you mentioned, which is I'm not the best for pork doing this either, but when you did your pork, but I know this is
Oh
ribs
yeah,
are pork too. You
right.
did something that usually, as busy dads, we usually don't have time because the kids want to
Yeah,
eat. But you did
right.
something with your pork butt that you usually don't do because we don't have the time. But you said
Yep.
it made a world of difference, and I think you tell our listeners about that because I think it also works for ribs too.
Yeah. So this worked really well, and having the pellet smoker made this a lot easier too. Just the kind of the convenience of it, and being able to let it sit a little bit longer and not have to worry about it. I could, get it on and go back to bed, whatever.
Mm.
But anyway, I let it rest for
Yeah.
2 hours. And letting stuff rest is a huge part. And I took it off. It was wrapped up in tinfoil, left it in the tinfoil, wrapped it up in this old crappy beach towel that we don't need anymore, wrapped it up nice and tight, put it in a
Yeet.
cooler, and then didn't touch it for 2 hours. And then it pulled apart like butter. So,
Yeah. And I guess we just don't really, we always think beef, at least I do. Being a
mhm.
novice I am, I always think beef is what we have to let all your meats rest.
Yeah.
And so all those juices settle in and just get that flavor and that juiciness there. So yeah, I had to bring that up because that was a good conversation I had earlier this week.
Mhm.
So thanks, Super Sheehan.
Oh, yeah.
All
Love
right.
it.
Mm.
Super Yago.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about pork shoulder, pork butt, and I think that's probably the one thing that I've made the most. And anytime I have people over, it's great to feed the masses. It's a very affordable cut of meat, good bang for your buck. I'm gonna hit you with a little science though. All right. So our I'm gonna start talking about our tongue, which has these little papilla colored taste buds. And on these taste buds, we have things like sweet, we have sour, we have salty, we have bitter, and then we have this unusual taste bud, and it's called umami. And that's kind of a savory taste bud. So I'm gonna try and I'm trying to pair all of my preparation with that. So two pathways here. If you have lots of time, we're gonna brine this pork butt overnight, at least, maybe even 24 hours. If we don't have a lot of time and we got to get it in quick, I tried injecting it with the same stuff, and that actually worked really, really well. So let's say we have time, right? Um, to hit that saltiness flavor, you're going to add a cup of salt. I use about 12 gallons of water, so 10 to 12 gallons of water. So I got a cup of salt, cup of sugar, and I'm going to put in for that savory flavor, Worcestershire. I think I said that right. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fact check
I
me
don't
there.
know.
I don't know how to
Worcestershire.
sing it, so
So I think that's really, really important to kind of get that sweet, you get that salt, you get that kind of savory. But I also in my brines, if I have lots of time, I like to boil it, and I will put whole hunks of garlic, onion, um, orange, like a navel orange, and sometimes lemon. But I'd prefer an orange in there, and then boil it. Boil it so all the sugar, all the salt, all that breaks down. And then I'll actually take probably like a quarter cup of the rub that I'm going to use as well and dump that in there. And once that cools off, then I'm going to put my pork butt in there. I have a giant kind of like, I don't know, boiling pot. You boil like corn in or something like that. It's about 14 gallons. Get that baby fully submerged and put her in the fridge. So that's if you have time. If not, the same recipe I just did, inject it. And that actually worked just as well. Some things that I've realized: you wake up the next day, or maybe that night, you're going to put it on your smoker. Really got to pat that dry. There was one time that I went to put my binder on, which I'm usually a mustard guy, yellow mustard guy for my binder. I realized it just kind of fell off. So letting it sit out, dry it off. Once you take it out of that brine, I think is really, really, really important. Um, Things I want to experiment with that I saw as binders, hot sauce. Haven't done that yet. I saw someone do honey, which I'm kind of intrigued by. Covering, that's a lot of honey, but I would consider covering it in honey. But I usually use yellow mustard, and then I like to go two types of rubs on there. I have a Kinder's salt and pepper mesquite, which I like to start it off with, just so that I know I'm getting enough of that, salty, peppery flavor, which really helps make that bark. And then anything barbecue wise, I got that pig rub. Meat Church has a great one, that honey barbecue, I think it is. I've used that one
Suckerbuster.
before. I think
Yeah.
you got me onto that one. It's got like a yellow top on it.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely use that yellow mustard as a binder. Put that baby on the smoker. Usually if I'm cooking for dinner the next day, I actually might be putting it on that night, like 8, 9 o'clock. 12 hours, 225. I'm gonna go low. But there's a couple of times, like the catering party, for instance. I had to be out the door at like 7. I woke up at 5, and it was still, after 12 hours, it was still at like 170. Which is kind of like, oh crap, what do I do? Didn't matter, because you take that pork butt, whether it's done or not, you put it in an aluminum pan. I put a little bit of apple juice in the bottom. I heard Dr. Pepper, which would
Hmm.
also be a great thing to throw in there. I know you guys do that. Cover it in that pan, put it in, crank it. Does not matter. I've
Yeah.
realized that I jacked it up to like 300, 350, got it up to 204 in like an hour, and was out the door. Did not matter. Got to get that fat rendered. I think that's pretty much the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
I think too, and we've talked about this, so it was on there for 12 hours, Yago. It's probably is going to get much smoke penetration as possible
Yeah.
in 12
Exactly.
hours. So crank it, And
Yeah.
that's a tip I learned, and we've talked about it, and it works, man. It works. That's
And
a good point.
and for that example, I mean, we pulled it off. I pulled it off I put it on at 4:30 p.m. Wednesday night. I got up at 5. It was still at like 168, 170. So it was on there for over 12 hours.
Mhm.
Put it in the pan, little apple juice, covered it, jacked it up to 300. By 6:30, it was at 204. Took it into a cooler, which I had boiling water in, emptied the boiling water out, covered it in a blanket. How long did we let that sit, Z?
Oh, we didn't start. It had to be 4 o'clock, 4:30
So
afternoon.
it sat in there for 8 hours.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It was still piping hot.
It was still
Yeah.
piping
It
hot.
was delicious.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that bone just slid right out of there, man.
it
Yep.
did. I, you got the first time using the meat claws too. So
Oh, I gotta give me some meat claws, man.
yeah, it's because I did the same thing with the brisket.
Yeah,
I took mine up, I wrapped it put in the cooler about it was 6:37 a.m. And I took it, well, we got a little hungry right away, so I took it out, but it was still hot, because we were
yeah,
worried how hot was it going to be because it was in
yeah,
there. Usually I let it rest 2, 3 hours, 4 hours in the cooler, but not 8. But I've seen a lot of pit masters do that, and well, they know what they're talking about. They work.
yeah. No,
Um,
that meat rest is a big deal, and I like whether it's 2 or 8 or whatever.
mhm.
You let all those juices, all that fat that got
Yep.
rendered, kind of even out, and holy cow, it's
Big
good.
difference. Big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we
What?
ate.
Oh yeah, we did eat. Um, One of the things too, a tip that I don't know why I just thought of it one time the brine, and I like that when I brine, I bring my brine up to a boil too.
Yes,
Mhm.
You really get the marrying of everything in that brine. If you need to cool it off fast, what I do is fill one side of my sink with ice. I take the ice bucket out of that and then
yeah,
I put it in there and it cools it off a lot faster
Mhm.
than just letting it sit. If you don't have the time and need to cool off
for
faster.
sure.
Like I always do it for my turkey for Thanksgiving. And that's one thing that I found works really fast for me. Maybe some of our listeners might use sometime to get the brine cooled down fast because you don't
Yeah,
want to start cooking in that cooler. Yeah.
you could cut that 12 gallons of water down to like 7 or 8, and then use that ice as
Mhm.
your volume.
Yep.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So so my step by step is my favorite thing. Jess asked me, "What do you want to do for Father's Day?" And I told her, "I want to smoke food. That's why I don't do anything. Sit around, smoke some
Yep.
food, And so I went to Meesfield's, Zola Z3, and I went to Meesfield's and I picked up my favorite cut of meat to smoke, and that is the 4 pound porterhouse. Recipes up on the website. Check out IG too. I did a step by step with that, quick video on that. Took me like 10 hours to edit, but I figured it out finally. But so I call ahead and ask the butcher, and they kind of chuckle, And but we picked it up and bring it home. And the night before, I like to do this a salt, pepper, dry brine with it. And so I do that, and so it's already kind of seasoned. And so I keep that overnight in the fridge. And when I'm ready to go, you have to plan probably about 4 to 5 hours before you want to eat. Um, you got a big chunk of meat. 4 pounds is a big chunk of meat. So usually you don't have, that's a porterhouse. You really don't have to trim it up or anything, but I take it out. And a lot of times I don't even put a binder on it. I just hit it up with my seasonings. I am an SPG guy for beef. That's what I like.
Mhm.
I will add some different things to it. I'm a Suckle Busters. I'm gonna try Miss Tina's when I get hers in. I'll try her new beef rub too as well. But when it comes down, it's SPG for me. Um, but I did this time, I did smother it in Wagyu tallow. And then as my binder, then I did the SPG. And I also did a little bit of the black and tan. It's like that black carnivore type of rub where it's a lot of darker peppers and garlics in there too as well. And it gives that dark finish when you take it off the grill. Smothered it in tallow and I seasoned it up, let it rest there for a while. And then I went and fired up the smoker, 225. I had cheesy potatoes, which I'll talk about a different time because that is probably the best side I've ever made in my entire
Love
life
cheese potatoes.
on the smoker. Oh my goodness. It was like, my
Say
kids wanted
less.
more of it. And but And then I had like I went off what Super Sheehan did, hot dog burnt ends. So I did those two. So I threw the steak on there. Um, and it was on there for about 2.5 hours. So when it got 120 degrees internal temp, so I have it smothered in Wagyu tallow. I have it seasoned up, got my temperature probes in there. It's on about 2.5 hours, got to about 120. All right. As soon as it gets to 120, I went on my gas grill and took a cast iron skillet and got it piping hot, like 400 degrees. And so it's steaming. And so then I throw some Wagyu tallow in that bad boy and I slap that and I take the porterhouse off the smoker, take the probes out, I throw it on there, and I put my timer on my phone for 3 minutes, and I let it just sear in that tallow for 3 minutes. And then I do this, flip it over and do the same thing for 3 minutes again. Then I took butcher paper and I rubbed tallow in there again, and through that porterhouse, wrapped it up and put in the cooler for about an hour, hour and a half, and it took it out and it was money. So pretty simple process. You can do it with any steaks. Depending on how thick your steak will be, will depend on or how long it takes. But I mean, it's that simple. And there's nothing really crazy about it. But if you that searing at the end really just keeps
Yeah.
everything inside that porterhouse. And like I said, you can cut it with if you check out my video, you can see I squeezed it and you saw the juice just running down my hand with how good that was. And that's one of my favorite things to do. It never disappoints. Just make sure take it off at 120. I've done it where I took it off at 130 and it's got a more of a medium to medium well. And I need my steak still talking to me a little bit, medium rare. And oh yeah. And but that is the step by step for my one of my favorite things, porterhouse. And I've done it with other steaks and just you only smoke it for like an hour because it doesn't take that long then. But still turns out it's just you can cut it with a butter knife. It's so good. So that recipe is up on the website, and I have a couple of short little videos too as well with that. So those are some of our favorite things to smoke. I will definitely probably put the cheesy potatoes up on the website too as well, and I'll talk about those at a different time because I always thought my mac and cheese was the best I made. No, these cheesy potatoes took it to a whole nother level. It's
Mm.
crazy.
Yeah,
And
I love cheesy potatoes.
yeah, secret ingredient, French onion dip.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
all
blew
right.
blew my mind. So
Put
yeah,
that recipe up, man. I want that
Yeah,
Well, I'll
recipe.
we'll
put
try
that.
it.
I'll put
We'll
that
try
up
it.
tomorrow morning or tonight, one of the two. Depends if I get done editing this video. Moving on to our last segment here. It's what's coming up next. We have some interviews. We have reached out to some people. We alluded to it on our with Todd and Susie Bullock, Kevin Bledsoe. Just he got back to me today. So he's a busy dude. There's a lot of things going on. Well, I think, and but so we're trying to get that date set in stone for that one too as well. Recipes on the websites going up. Some live sessions. We had a lot of fun. We did a couple of those where we went live and like where were we at Bass Pro Shop, Iago, I
Oh
think. And
yeah, man.
so maybe some of
Mecca.
some of those, and I think we all are fathers, and so I think that you might see some live go action and see some of our kiddos in there and stuff like that too as well. Something that I'm super excited about is the new season of Netflix Barbecue Showdown is up coming. It's real
Yeah.
quick, real
What
quick.
do we have a date for that?
It's probably out there. I just seen it on
Yeah,
my Netflix where all the shows are, and it's in my
yeah.
favorites. So like it's coming soon. And so I should ask Miss Tina Cannon because it's funny
She'll
because
know.
she sent me a link to apply for it. And I just laughed. I'm like, I ain't there yet. So
Premieres July 4th.
yeah, oh, it's coming. This is
Oh
awesome.
yeah,
Season
there we
3.
go.
And so
Nice.
that's coming up too as well. And and I'm excited. The three of us have been talking about going live, and actually, I've talked about it on the show before. is that our students made me a smoker and the offset smoker. It's no risk it, no biscuit smoke, or no risk it, no brisket smoker.
Brisket. Yeah.
And I've been toying with the temperature to get the temperature down before I throw a piece of meat on there. And so we're going to look here in next month here, maybe bringing the kiddos together and firing that up and going some live on Instagram and, doing maybe one of our episodes during that time too as
Yeah.
well, which will be good because
Better
you'll see
rip.
the father side of us too as well. And so it's always fun and things like that. So, but that is our show for today. So Super Sheehan, Super Yago, do you guys have anything or anything you want to add that you may have thought of after or anything like that before we wrap this one up?
No, just smoke on.
Smoke on, man. That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
Happy
Yeah.
summer. Happy smoking.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. So excited. We had a lot of great things. Thanks for all the support. And if I missed anybody on the shout outs, apologize for that. But we know that we're just three teachers, three dads, three husbands that, love talking smoking meat. And we just, it's a lot of fun to see the people who reach out to us. And it means a lot. That little like button does mean a lot to us. So thank you. And
It does.
yeah, like Super Sheehan said, like Super Yago said, like I'll say, smoke on, my friends.
Smoke on.
Smoke on.